Hi there, so every now and then a question is asked that reverberates through the internet, across the Facebook groups, across the internet forums and the sub-forums on Reddit. People answer, they forget about it, they move on with their lives. And so I'm going to do the same today. I'm going to discuss shoes, okay? I'm going to do a test today as to whether using any of these shoes is going to make any difference across a 100-meter row, because I have been investigating for a while what kind of things I can do to improve a 100-meter row. So far we've found that if I increase the drag factor up from my usual 135 to 185, that was the only thing really that made any kind of big difference. And that's, we've tested so far whether I should raise the foot plates by a little bit. We've tested whether I should do different kind of race starts. And so if I do my start, it's a big pull from the front. And if I raise the drag factor, I know that I can improve my 100-meter time a little bit by about half a second. So I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to do the same test with shoes. Okay, so I'm going to keep the drag factor down at around about 140. I'm not going to have it up at the top, and we're going to compare between socks, between just a pair of gym trainers, Converse All Stars, some Adidas Powerlifts, and then just for the well, fun, I'm going to do it in a pair of Timberlands as well, just to see whether that raised heel is going to make any difference at all to 100 meters. So we have to start this off with a baseline. I've already done a decent workout today, so I've already got the edge knocked off me. So hopefully what it means is that I've already faded. So across all of these tests, it's not really going to make a difference. It's not like I'm going to be super fast. It's me, so I'm not going to be super fast, but it's not like I'm going to be top loading my first effort in socks and then everything else is going to fall off. It should be relatively equal. So here we go then. We're going to do 100 meters in just socks, just to see what kind of time I can do it in. In 3, 2, 1. Bit of a slow start compared to previous ones. 18.1, 43 strokes a minute. Might come back at the end and do socks again. So then, the first one we're going to try is a pair of gym shoes. These are just my old Saucony running shoes. Now, the main thing that we're going to have to do, especially with these, is that I know that because of the thickness of the heel down at the bottom, I'm going to have to lower the foot stretchers. So in socks, row on number 3, so there's 3 holes showing. So I'm going to drop down to number 4, so there's only 2 holes showing, and hopefully that means, yeah. So the strap is going across the balls of my feet, the bottom lace of these shoes. May have to adjust them again for the other shoes, but we'll see. So there we go. So they feel, yeah, so that feels comfortable enough as I come into the front, so we can give this one a go. So let's try these running shoes in 3, 2, 1. It definitely feels how the angle has changed. (18.3), so in my incredibly scientific, peer-reviewed test, gym shoes are 0.02 of a second slower than socks. Okay, I've saved you from watching me lace up a pair of Converse. Way too many eye holes on these, but it feels the straps are covering the same point as they were when I was in the gym shoes. Interestingly, if you're in Converse, this whole thing of the strap should cover the bottom lace in your shoe may actually leave you set a little bit too low, because I've actually got the horizontal lace is still poking up from where the strap is, because of just how all the eyelets, how they all sit in a pair of Converse. But this feels the same-ish as it did before. So maybe in between the socks and the shoes, but I'll live with this one. So I will load in 100 meters again. There we go. So simple doing it that way. And we're gonna have another go. So try and aim for the same stroke rate, same start, same drag factor. And let's see how we get on. In 3, 2. I promise. I'm putting everything into this. 18.1. I mean, listen, it's only 0.2 of a difference, but you could argue that the flatter sole on Converse versus the cushioning in a pair of running shoes, because remember, these are meant to soak up the power of me running, give me cushioning, power that as I'm going as powerfully as I can into the foot plates, it's actually getting soaked up. So you are losing some kind of wattage. How much that wattage is, I don't know, but looking at that, you could say that there is some evidence, but it's only 0.2 of a second. So it could just be that I rode that one faster than the shoes, than the gym shoes. So that's Converse, man. Okay then, so I don't think I've worn these Adidas Powerlifts since the 2017 World Championships in Boston. I think that was the last Crash Bees and World Indoor Rowing Championships that they had together in Boston. They've been moving around after that. So these have been lying in a cupboard for pretty much 5 years now. Yeah, I was a little bit worried about what I'd find in them when I opened, put my feet in, a big spider comes out, but no, that didn't happen. So they do feel flat. There's a slight, compared to the Converse, there is a little bit of a heel rise. These are very flat. There is a tiny wedge to the Adidas Powerlifts, but they are very flat. And so whereas the heel may be kind of similar to this in terms of wedge, it's not going to soak up the power that this did. So really effectively, if the Powerlifts give me a quicker instant of my heels hitting the foot plate and there's no compression, you'd hope that these are going to make me go faster than both of these. But then it'll be interesting to see versus the socks what they're like. So let's talk in more rowing, hey? Here we go. 3, 2. 18 seconds on the nose. If we were to take this on complete face value, you'd say that the Powerlifts were better out of everything so far. Okay, so my trusty Timberland shoes. These are actually 20 years old. I bought these in 2002 in New York, the same year that I proposed to Julie at the top of the Empire State Building. So, and of course, the Timberlands are the most memorable part of that. No, they're not. This will be interesting because actually in these tiny little trainer socks, my heels are kind of slipping out of them as I move forward. So I don't think these are going to be the fastest of all of them. But let's give it a go anyway, okay? Right, you ready for whatever this is going to be? Oh no, I'm not actually loaded in. I've been too busy laughing about the state of my shoes. I forgot to actually load it in. So, sending workout, weight, row to start. All right then, 3, 2. 18 seconds on the nose again. I don't think I'll be wearing these all the time as a rowing thing. Because these have got the highest heel out of all of them, it changed the angle that I was pushing at. And don't know if it'll be evident from the video, but towards the end of that, I was kind of hanging off the back of the seat because as I was driving, because the angle of my feet has now gone from kind of being, well, I'll exaggerate it, say normally I'm pushing off in that plane. With these Timberlands on in the heel rise, instead of pushing in that plane, I'm pushing more upwards. So what that meant is as I was driving out, I was pushing my backside very slightly off the seat. And then when you're rowing at 44 strokes per minute, what my full power is, that then resulted in enough of a lift of my backside off the seat that I was starting to fall off the back. So towards the end of that, I felt it's almost like I had to slow down a little bit because I was full off the seat. So you never know, I could have gone even faster in the Timberlands if that wasn't happening. But anyway, that'd be interesting, turning up to the next World Championships in a pair of Timberlands. But right. Okay, so I'm back up to setting 3. Oh, my feet. They feel naked against the foot plates now. I'll get myself settled down again onto the front of the seat. Okay, so I'm comfortable there. 100 meters are in, my feet are in the right place. Let's have one last chance. Give the socks one last chance to shine against the shoes. Here we go. There we go, 17.7. So after doing 5 different 100-meter sprints, which you've got to figure is going to fatigue me a little bit, isn't it? I then came and did socks again, and it was the fastest of the bunch. Out of all of them, it was the fastest, and it was the last one I did. And it also shows the difference between the 18.1 that I did at the beginning of this, 17.7 there. There's an element there, obviously, that I wasn't warmed up enough the first time round to do it. So that also shows you the importance of making sure that your muscles are ready and firing, ready to go for what you're about to do. So I know it's not, I know I joked about this being terribly scientific and peer reviewed and stuff. I know it's just pop science. It's just pseudo rubbish. But it's still proof enough to me that certainly, what were we, 18.3 in a pair of running shoes versus 17.7 in my socks. So that's over half of a second difference just because I'm wearing socks versus the running shoes. And I think that's substantial enough, even in this little fun test, that's substantial enough for me to really kind of go, there's no way I'd go into a 2K race or a 1K or 500 meter or a minute or a 100 meter sprint in a pair of running shoes. I'd always going to go for socks. Once you get into maybe a 6K, 10K an hour and whatever, and comfort does start to come into it, then maybe you want to start wearing shoes if that's the thing. However, I've made another video about kind of why I row in socks and how to kind of overcome discomfort. I'm going to try and upload both of these in parallel so you can take a look at both and see kind of why I row in socks and things. But for me, that was evident. The fact that I was able to go so much faster in socks really proves that this, and trust me, I came into this kind of going, especially when the Timberlands got me down 18 seconds, I was like, oh, maybe I've made a bad choice here. But yeah, to me, that proves that I've made a smart choice being in my socks versus wearing shoes. So that's what I take away from this. What I would like you to take away from this, however, is to do similar, okay? Whether you do it over a series of 100 meter sprints or whether you do it over a series of 500s or 1Ks or 2Ks is entirely up to you. But if you have various shoes lying around, if you have somebody that has a pair of Powerlifts that you can borrow, if you can experiment with rowing in socks, all that kind of stuff, then do so to find out what works best for you, especially on these short, sharp rows. There's things like whacking up the drag factor is something that I wouldn't ever normally do, but on a 100 meter sprint, having done the test before, I know that will make me go faster over 100 meters. And actually, 100 meters is really just about sheer power. It's got nothing to do with rowing. So I don't really care about stroke and all that stuff. As long as I know I'm not going to get injured, I don't mind raising the drag factor if it means I can get a faster one for that 18 or 17 odd seconds. I wouldn't do it across a 1K or a 2K because that's when injury potentials happen. But so with everything, your foot plate height, your drag factor, your shoes, your race starts, experiment, okay? You saw how quickly I was able to do that across these. So experiment yourself. Yeah, ask the internet. By all means, go into the Concept 2 Indoor Rowing Hub or the Concept 2 community or the C2 forum or Reddit or whatever and type, what shoes would I wear? But find out what works find out what works best for you. Okay, look like a shoe fetishist. with a bunch of shoes lying around your rowing machine, and then work out what is best for you. And maybe just do it once, maybe come back and do it a couple more times, so you're not kind of going, all right, I'm going to live and die by this 17.7 second end result there for socks. I might come back tomorrow and do exactly the same test in reverse and see if there's any difference. See if suddenly by putting the running shoes at the end, maybe I'm a lot quicker than them because I wasn't warm enough for them. You never know. So don't live and die by one decision. Make sure and do it a few times and then work out what's best for you. I think I've said that enough times, okay? If you don't have that in, then. So there we go. I do hope you enjoyed this little bit of fun on the rowing machine. It was a bit of fun, but I do think it's quite revealing for me. I'm at least happy that I know I should be rowing in socks. If you do enjoy the sound of my voice, hey, then I've got hundreds of videos up here on YouTube. Got, I think, over 300 workout videos now, and then around about 50, 60, 70 of these videos like this, where I just talk about stuff that might make you go fitter, or might make you go faster, or might help you go fitter, might help you get stronger. Hence why everything is fitter, faster, stronger in the world of RowAlong, apart from my ability to speak. So it's because I'm trying to get to the end as quickly as possible. I'm like, I mean, Scottish people talk really fast anyway, but when I'm trying to get to the end, they're just like really fast. So I'll just get to the end, all right? I'll stop wasting your time. So thank you so much for watching this video. Please let me know how you get on. Please let me know what your results are, whether you agree, whether you fall in line with me in terms of socks versus shoes. If you have any requests for videos like this that I could make for you, then please get in touch and I'll do everything I can to try and make it. And yeah, and I will hopefully see you in another video. Until then, look after yourselves, stay safe, be well, bye-bye.